Rakesh, you mute everybody. Uh, Vipin, you mute your sound. Vipin,
Yes, yes, Father.
okay. Vipin has not muted. Okay, fine. So I suppose still there is echo. We will see. Can you hear me? Somebody unmute and tell me whether you can hear me.
Yes,
Yes,
Father.
Father, we can hear you.
I can hear you. Am I
Yes,
clear?
yes,
Yes, Father.
yes, Father.
Okay, William. Then now you mute and we will see. Well, we were trying to understand the phenomenology, and other day I said you have to make a distinction between cause and effect, which was the main work of psychologism and historicism, and Husserl disagrees with them. Then we have the this one. What is that? Phenomenology. In phenomenology, he speaks about motivation. Now, some of you send me the difference between cause or psychologism and motivation. Now, some of you have copied from some, I don't know from which source you copied. It is nonsense what you have written. Foolish, good for nothing. Motivation, some of you have written little correctly. Motivation is something which is springing from within. Like I am motivated to listen to the class. I want to learn philosophy. That is motivation. Cause and effect is I want to study because I want to pass the exam and finish off and just get over about it, which you are doing, most of you. Hello, which you are doing, most of you. Get rid of it. Hello. That is cause and effect. Whereas motivation, I am interested. I want to learn what is this phenomenology. I want to learn philosophy. It's not just for the sake of exams, but it's for life. That is motivation. Cause and effect is that, I go to the church to pray. Why? Because your mother is pestering you. What fellow man, you are a seminarian, you are sleeping here, you are not going for mass. What sort of fellow you are? Just to avoid this, oh my God, Amachi, what are you irritating? So I will just, or the parish priest is threatening you, or the bishop will take serious action. That is cause and effect. Whereas motivation is, I want to go to the church because I want to build relationship with God. Whether my mother tells, parish priest tells, bishops tell, that is not my interest. I am interested. Do you see the difference between the two? That is the motivation and cause and effect. So Edmund Husserl is saying that psychologism is talking about cause and effect. Why is such a thing? Because there is a cause. Why are you behaving this way? Because there is a cause. Whereas motivation, why are you behaving this way? Because I have a reason for it. I want for it. So motivation is that which goes inside your inside inner self. Motivation is that which guides your life. Motivation is that which makes you a person from within. Whereas cause and effect is more of an exterior. Motivation is something of interior. Cause and effect touches only the external part of your life. Motivation touches the deep recesses of your inner life. That is the difference between motivation, and you can have many others. Now, again, I ask you philosophy or Edmund Husserl was a rigorous science. Now, some of you wrote rigorous, you copied a definition from some Google dictionary and pasted it. Useless, good for nothing. That is what is the rigorous meaning for Edmund Husserl. So, in general, what is the meaning of the word rigorous? For example, if I say Mepin Antony is a rigorous seminarian, which he is not. Suppose I say Mepin Antony is a rigorous seminarian, which Mepin is not. Anyway, I'm just giving you an example. He is a rigorous seminarian, means he is a serious about his studies, serious about his prayer life, serious about his formation, serious about his relationship. He's serious as a seminarian at home now, helping his mother to cook, going to the church, helping his father to work, not fighting with your brothers and sisters. He's a rigorous, exemplary seminarian, which he is not. But I am giving an example. So rigorous means that is the meaning of the word rigor. Now, rigorous science is what? A science which is interested in knowing the person from deep within. Rigorous science is what? A science which is interested to know the truth. Rigorous science is what? A science which helps humanity to be in the light. Rigorous science is what? A science which gives wisdom, not just information, knowledge and wisdom. Rigorous science is what? Which helps a person to go back to the things in themselves, expression by itself. Rigorous means what? It is a science which helps you to go back to the phenomena, the reality, the truth. Therefore, he calls it as a rigorous science, philosophy as a rigorous science. Do you understand now? Yes or no? Shake your head at it. Ah. And what did you write? Dominic, what did you write? Nonsense. You copied some from here and there. Therefore, you have to elaborate. What are the qualities of rigorous science? That Avil has left the meeting. If you meet that man, give him a physical kick. He is good for nothing. Jayant also. Anyway, so that is the meaning of the word rigorous. So he called philosophy as a yes, come back. Philosophy as a rigorous. And which philosophy? Not any philosophy. Which philosophy? It is fe, no, me, no, lo, chi. Am I clear? Yes or no? Raise your hand if it is clear. Very good. Bipin, raise your hand, man. Oh, he is not hearing properly. He is shocked. So, philosophy as a rigorous science. So, this philosophy, which he calls it as the rigorous science, a philosophy which helps you to go back to the things in themselves, a philosophy which helps you to go to the truth of the things, a philosophy which helps you to be leading towards motivation. How to reach this philosophy? How to, in other words, how to reach the things in themselves? How to reach? That is the next question. So, in order to reach that, Husserl suggests a method. Note down, Husserl suggests a method that is called phenomenological method. Phenomenological method. So, what is the purpose of this method? The purpose of this method is to go back to the things in themselves. It is to reach the ultimate reality. It is to know the truth of the things. It is to experience the phenomena. Am I clear? Some problem. Ah, now came back. Am I clear? Ah, show your thumbs. Thumbs up. Ah, very good. Very good. Ah, my friend between goes for a coffee. I don't know. He has disappeared. So, what are the steps of this phenomenological method? What are the steps of this phenomenological method? There are three or four steps. One is reduction. 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 Reduction at various stages. We will see. Reduction at various stages. That is one. Second, intentionality. Intentionality of the conscience. Intentionality of the conscience. Third, eidetic. 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 Eidetic variation. Variation. How many things I said? Reduction, intentionality of conscience, and eidetic variation. Variation. Three things. So, so first, reduction. 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 So I will explain different aspects or stages of reduction. I will put it in simple words. To reduce in general means to limit, to reduce
आओ
means
क्लास है
what? To limit.
क्लास में
So let us keep that general meaning at the back of our head. To reduce means to limit. Now Husserl says there are two things we need to reduce. Reduction takes place at two levels, at the subjective level, at the objective level. At the subjective level, at the objective level. So how does it take place at the subjective level? Let us take the example of our friend Jayant. Jayant is a big fellow. He is coming from Mysore, powerful man, lot of this, lot of this, and he is a mighty fellow in Mysore, like Mysore Maharaj. But Jayant is limited man. He is not all powerful. He is not all knowing. He is not all time fellow. Jayant was born maybe 15 years ago. He may live for another 75 years. So after that, Jayant is not there. Some years ago, Jayant was not there. So if Jayant as a subject knows reality, is it a permanent or a temporary? Permanent or temporary? Permanent you show this, temporary you show this. Is it permanent or temporary? It is temporary. Jayant may be very powerful man, but he is limited man. may be very powerful at his home, but he is a limited being. William may be powerful, I don't know, but limited being. Joel may be powerful in his home, but limited. Joseph Martis may be powerful in the seminary, outside is zero. See, we are all like that. So Husserl says, if the limited, subject is limited by time and space, subject is limited by many other limitations, can that subject have absolute knowledge? Can you have absolute knowledge? Yes or no? If yes, you show upper finger. No means show down. Ah, he cannot have absolute knowledge. So if he cannot have absolute knowledge, how to or which subject can have absolute knowledge? So he got put this subject called Jain in our example into brackets. That is called the process of bracketing. Note down process of bracketing. Process of bracketing. In brackets, epoche, E P E P O C H E, process of epoche, bracketing, process of bracketing. So you bracket the historical subject. In my example, who is the historical subject I gave you? Who is that fellow? The Mysore fellow. Put him into bracket. Put the Bangalore fellow into bracket. Put this maybe into brackets. Put law into brackets. This fellow disappeared. Or Dominic, he must have gone to search the parish priest to bring him back. So you see?
No, Father.
Yeah,
Yes,
there.
yes, only Father.
Thank God. I thought you had gone.
No,
Sean.
Father.
Sean is a late arrival everywhere. Even seminary he came late.
No, Father, I'm in
So,
seminary only.
so he's a late arrival. He has come late. His whole life is late.
No, I'm
So,
near the seminary.
seminary or no seminary, may you joined just now, useless fellow. I started my class long back. Ah, so, you see,
I'm
historical.
near the seminary, Father.
You now close this one. What is that? Mute your this one. And Avil has
Okay.
finally dawned. Avil is the man who said he cannot get connection at all because he is staying in a forest. Finally, I can see his face. So, historical bracket, that is called one type of reduction. Reduction of the subject. Am I clear? Yes or no? Not clear. Am I clear? Show your finger, man. Oh, that's very good. Oh, grandson has come back. So that is called the phenomenological bracketing or reduction of the subject. But subject alone is not enough for knowledge. Subject alone is not enough. We need to have object. We need to have object. Knowledge is nothing but a relationship between the subject and the object. You follow me? Knowledge is nothing but a relationship between subject and object. Now, in order to arrive at a knowledge which is valid for all the times, In order to have absolute knowledge about an object, which object, for example, let me take my mobile. This is an ordinary poor man's mobile, unlike some of you have rich man's mobile. This is ordinary poor man, a village parish like that. Simple. So this mobile is an object. Can it give me absolute knowledge about the mobile? Because this object also is limited. It is limited by time and space. It may last for another 6 months, then it is over. Even if you have the best mobile in the world, it is not going to last long. It may last for 2 years or 3 years. Any object for that matter, once again, is limited by time and space. This object is corruptible. It destroys itself. So can a particular object give me absolute knowledge? Yes or no? If it is yes, you raise your finger. If no, put it down. Ah, so it cannot give us absolute knowledge. So how to get absolute knowledge if this object, or for that matter, any other object or any other issue can give me absolute knowledge? So he says, put that also into bracket. Put that object into bracket. That is an historical object because this object exists in time and space. It's an historical object. So put a historical object into bracket. So we have put historical subject into bracket. We have put historical object into bracket. Now which subject and which object to take? So Husserl says, you take the subject which is beyond time and space, and he calls it as the transcendental subject. He calls it as transcendental subject. He calls it as transcendental subject. So put the historical subject into brackets and go towards the transcendental subject, a subject which is not limited by time and space. Am I clear? Then, when it comes to the object, you have put the historical object into brackets. So you take historical, this transcendental object now. What is a transcendental object? It is beyond a particular object. It is beyond a particular object. So, the transcendental object will be the essence of this object. The essence of this object. The essence of mobile phone. The essence of mobile phone will be the same every time. The essence of mobile phone, for example, will not change after 2000 years. It is the same. The essence of mobile phone, whether it is in Kerala, whether it is in Chittadi, whether it is in Mysore, whether it is in Shimoga, wherever it is the same. It does not change. So you take the essence of an object, and that essence will give you absolute knowledge. So we have two. Remember, don't forget, absolute subject, which is, he says, an ideal subject. He calls it as transcendental subject. We have an absolute object. He calls it as the essence of the object. When they come together, you have what he calls as absolute knowledge. You have the knowledge of the essence of a thing. And that knowledge is, where is it? Inside your mind. This is what Husserl calls it by reader. Am I clear or not clear? Glance. Am I clear? Glance. Can you hear? Ah, clear? Ah, Avil has come back. That's a good news. Ah, what about my friend Lloyd? Is he there or has he gone for a coffee? Lloyd is not there.
Yes, Father, I am there.
Ah, you are there. I thought you have gone to bring meat, Dukramas.
No, Father.
Anyway, you are there.
Yes, Father.
So this is two types of this one, reduction. Then he says, eidetic variation. Eidetic variation. What is eidetic? Eidetic means of the idea, of the idea. Idea, idea is the mind. So what is this eidetic variation? He says, if you want to know the essence of a thing, which is permanent, which is absolute, which is eternal, which does not change, essence of a thing. How to reach that essence? Where is that essence? So he says, in order to find out the essence of this object, for example, what am I supposed to do? That process is called eidetic variation. To find out the essence of a thing, of anything. I just give you an example. To find out the essence of a thing, you have to do what he calls variation. That's called eidetic variation. Let me explain with the example again. Now, how to get the essence of this mobile? What is the essence of this mobile? Now, the mobile is covered with a cover. If I remove the cover, will the mobile disappear? Yes or no? Say either yes or no.
No.
If I remove this cover, does the mobile disappear?
No.
Yes? No. It does. So cover is not the essential for mobile. What about if I remove the outside glass? Will it disappear or no?
Eh?
Will the
No.
mobile disappear? No.
Ah,
Likewise,
yeah,
you
network
have
problem
to
है.
do a mental exercise by adding and by removing, subtracting things to an object. You can add another 10 powers. You can remove power. You can remove the mirror. You can remove perhaps some screws. I don't know what. He said, you come at a particular moment where if you remove those things, the thing does not exist anymore. If you remove those things, the thing does not exist anymore. So that determines the essence of a thing.
Please
Now,
repeat, Father.
I'll give you some extra example. William, you do think about it at home. Maybe you think at home. Jeevan, you think at home. Joel, you think at home. Jayan, you think at home. My friend Sean, the late man, think at home. So, what is the essence of a seminarian? What makes seminarian a seminarian? Ah, this is an important exercise. Where is his son? Has he disappeared?
Yes, Father. Here.
Ah, you are there. Ah, what
Yes.
makes a seminarian a seminarian? Tell Father who is in charge for you.
First is the spirituality, Father.
Ah, so
Second
no,
is
no, don't
obedience.
tell me. Don't tell me.
Okay,
Tell
Father.
the Father who is in charge.
Yes, Father. Sure.
Ah, what makes a seminarian? Is it the beard which makes a seminarian? Not at all. Is it your shirt and pant? Not at all. Is it your appearance? Not at all.
Holiness.
Is it, I do not know, your marks? May not be at all. So you see, so there are certain things, if you remove that seminarianness disappears. What is that? We do not know. You can't say that. Each one has to decide what is it. So you see, so what determines the essence of a thing? So that you have to catch for everything. So that catching process is called eidetic variation. You add things, you remove things. By adding, by removing, you are able to find out the essence of a thing. So this is called eidetic variation. Am I clear what is eidetic variation? Yes or no?
Yes, Father.
Yes, no? Do this exercise. Sugesh, or can you hear me? Sugesh. Sugesh is the teacher most probably. Uh, So you see, so this is eidetic variation. So I give you the method. So there is reduction. Reduction includes epoche, I told you, or bracketing. Epoche also is called as bracketing. Reduction is done at the subject level, at the object level. Then we have eidetic variation. Then we have eidetic variation. So I told you what is an eidetic variation. Then finally, we have intentionality of conscience. Intentionality of conscience. Now, what is this intentionality of conscience or consciousness? It could be consciousness. He says, who says? Our mind, our mind always is directed towards something. Mind is not empty. Our mind is directed always towards something. When I
Can
think
you repeat, Father?
our mind is directed towards something. Always. Our mind is always directed towards the thing. Directed. In other words, our mind is always looking forward towards the thing. When I think, for example, I think of something. When I feel of something. When I love something or somebody. When I hate something or somebody. You see? The mind is always in a direction, intention, intensio in Latin is directed towards, directed towards. In simple words, it means my mind is not separated from things. I always am directed towards that. Therefore, intentionality of conscience or consciousness means mind is always directed or it has a purpose. It has something to which it is connected. That is called intentionality of conscience. Am I clear? So mind is not cut off from the reality. Mind is always in relation with the reality, with the things. I used several words. The intentionality of conscience. So remember, reduction, reduction at various levels. Then we have intentionality of conscience. Then we have identity variation. This is the method proposed by Husserl to reach to the things in themselves. If you use this method, he says, we are able to reach the things in themselves, or what he calls to go back to the things in themselves. So originally, phenomenology was a method to reach to the things. That was a method. Of course, Husserl later changed into a doctrine. Originally, it was not a doctrine. It was only a method. And in the method, these steps are very important. You can put on your sound system and tell me whether you have understood.
Understood, Father.
Please, sir. Please,
Yes, yes,
Mr.
Father.
Louis.
I have a idea.
Father, what is that variation, Father? Identic.
I did. I gave you everything. I did. I identity.
Spelling, Father.
E-I-D-I-T-I-C. Did you get it?
No,
Yes,
Father.
Father. Thank you.
E-I-D. E-I-D-E-T-I-C. Somebody open the mind of this. He is not getting it. Somebody pronounce.
Father, better you type it, Father. Father,
Eidetic
type.
variation.
Identity variation. What is the spelling?
Better
E
you type,
I
Father, down.
Eidetic.
Correct. Why this you not understand?
Understood, Father.
Tell me, sir.
Eidetic.
Tell me. Please, sir, you tell me, man.
Yeah, understood.
Tell me the spelling.
Eidetic.
T-I-C.
Yeah, correct,
T
Father.
for
TI.
Chaya.
Yeah.
Looks like your whole family is listening to my lecture, man.
Yeah, they are interested in your subject, Father. Phenomenology.
Very good. You see, are they your children?
Not my children. I don't have that much capacity, Father.
Looks like it's a joint family, man.
Yeah, Father. Major and minor together.
Very good, very good. Lucky fellow. Okay. Can them I clear.
Yes, Father.
Vipin,
Clear.
Vipin, did you understand? Lloyd, very
Yes, Father.
Lloyd, are you there?
Yes, Father.
Father, I
What is it?
could not understand the
Yes, Father.
intentionality.
Yes, Father.
What about our Siddhari man? It disappeared. What is Denzel man? Denzel wrote something and sent. Nobody can understand what he has written. Is he there? Denzel,
He
are
is
you
there.
there?
Father.
Denzel. I don't know. You wrote your sister wrote. Somebody wrote. You wrote. You must have asked her to write in hand. Dominic, are you there?
Yes, Father, I am here only.
Yeah, there. Okay. Yeah. Thank God. So, am I clear?
Yes, Father.
Write well. Paper. Somebody sent me on a piece of paper. Look like paper was invented 100 years ago. Write decently, man, nicely. The phenomenological method. The steps of phenomenological method. Where is Rakesh? Has he come? Okay, just come on holidays.
Yeah, he cannot
Rakesh
hear
is not
properly,
here.
seems.
What about our Tamil Nadu fellow? Is he there?
Father, started Father echoing.
Huh? Tamil Nadu man. Grass cutter.
Sugi.
Not Sugesh man. The other fellow. Not Tamil Nadu.
Rajesh.
Natingara.
I'm here, Father.
Robin.
You are there?
I am also the grass cutter, Father.
Who?
I am
Father,
listen.
understood. Robin.
The great.
Lisa. You are assistant man. You are not the main. That's the main. We have a lot of work here now. So write down to me the phenomenological method as it was analyzed by Edmund Husserl and send me. Write down nicely. Nicely write down. Denzil, nicely write. Not ask your sister to write.
What is the homework, Father?
You have to write down to me the phenomenological method given by Edmund Husserl.
Yes, done, Father.
By clear.
Yes, Father.
Okay,
So
Father.
tomorrow we will have class again. 10:15. Sean,
Yeah.
10:15.